Come on in, Iain. There we go.
Thank you very much. I genuinely didn't expect to be up on stage tonight. I thought I was going to be the audience. Actually, it turned out to be 1/3 of the audience. So I wasn't thinking about doing stand-up this evening. I was actually thinking to myself, how much is an Olympic gold medal worth? I was thinking, what do you reckon? The value of an Olympic gold medal? Anybody?
Probably gold-plated, so...
Probably gold-plated,
yeah.
that's where my brain was going.
You might get a grant for it, just because of the...
right,
yeah.
so, point, ignore that, okay, because that's where my brain was. I came here tonight, and I sat down at the table there, and immediately Vlad said, you've got an interesting voice. At which point someone else said to me, yeah, real voice for radio. Not a face that people want to see, but a voice. And in fact, actually, this voice is the thing that people notice first about me. I've got this kind of rich, mellow, fruity voice that generally gets referred to as smug twat. And it's a voice where it can't say anything that you believe at all. You know, I turn to my wife and I say, I don't know why I'm looking at you now as though you're my wife. It's the eyes, they're so similar. I turn to my wife and I say, I love you. And she immediately wonders what I've done, because I don't sound at all believable. So when I said to her, tonight I'm going to go and see a comedy gig on an industrial estate in Coventry, she immediately assumed I was having an affair, because that's just far more plausible, really. She heard I was going to come and do a bit of stand-up tonight. She said, oh, you're going to do some jokes about how you do the dishwasher. You know, how you do the dishwasher. You stack it like, and it's her phrase, a clown on acid. And I went, no, I'm not going to do some jokes about that at all. No, in fact, if I'm going to do jokes about the dishwasher, I'm going to tell everybody my rule when it comes to the dishwasher, in fact, any household chore at all. If I do the dishwasher, and you then feel compelled to redo the dishwasher because you don't like the way I stacked it, then that's your job for life, that is. And it applies to anything in the home, okay? If I do a job and you're not satisfied with it, then you can do it yourself. That's your job for life. And that's why I no longer do the dishwasher, the laundry, or sleep with my wife. But no, sorry, I was talking about my voice. This voice, it's not the voice of where I come from. I have this voice because I went to a grammar school where I had my natural accent beaten out of me by people who thought it'd be better if I sounded a bit like Stephen Fry. I'm actually from Lincolnshire. Oh, that's you with somebody who thinks they know where Lincolnshire is. They've heard of it, not overly sure how to get there, because Lincolnshire is one of those places that you have heard of, but people tend not to go to. A, because there's nothing of interest there whatsoever, and B, it's not on the way to anywhere more interesting at all. But then when I say to people, yeah, I come from near Skegness, and then that look comes over their eyes, that PTSD look from that weekend in Butlins they once had. Skegness is that kind of like one of those seaside towns that's like Blackpool if you bought Blackpool off Wish. I'm not from Skeg itself, I'm actually from a little town just south of Grimsby. And again, Grimsby is one of those places where you've probably not been, but you know, it's got the word grim in the name, so you probably think you know already enough about it, you know. Actually, the only thing you know about Grimsby is its two most famous exports are A, the fish finger, and B, Beverly Allitt, the serial killer. That's all it's got going for it, okay? Of course, I will have to ask Sham at the back there, who's the most famous sports person to ever come out of Lincolnshire?
Mike Tyson.
Jeff Capes, that's right, well done. World's strongest man, yeah. Used to run a sports shop in the town where I lived, you know, and you know, it was nice the 70s, you know, being a period of time where, you know, your sporting idols was basically just a really big fat bloke. And you know, I do find myself nostalgic for my youth a lot these days. Not though for grammar school. Grammar school I loathe and despise. And I think one thing that typifies my dislike for my grammar school days is every time I go home now, my mum, her opening line to me, usually, most times, is, "You'll never guess who's been arrested for historical sex offences." 4. I'm up to 4 of my previous teachers on that one now. Oh yes, where am I up to? Oh yes, my nostalgia for my youth and the fact that actually I think I'm of that age. I'm 50 this weekend.
Woo! You did, mate.
Thanks. That's about as much excitement I'm going to get from this at this point on in. My youth, I grew up in that very special time, the 1980s, where we all lived in perpetual fear of nuclear holocaust. It's nice to see those times come rolling round again, isn't it? That I grew up in a time where everything on TV and film seemed to be about nuclear war. Whether it was Threads, in which Sheffield gets destroyed in a nuclear blast, that was fun to watch at the age of 10. Last time I asked to stay up and watch telly. Or indeed the charming children's film, When the Wind Blows. I don't know if you've ever seen that one. Obviously, some people haven't because they weren't born then. When the Wind Blows, a charming cartoon made by the same people who made The Snowman. And it said it's not the snowman who melts at the end, it's the faces of the old people as they die from radiation poisoning. So ingrained really was this kind of feeling of nuclear war that, and this is a genuinely true story. April the 1st, 1981, my primary school teacher, Mrs. Fiddler, that was her name. Obviously you wouldn't get a job as a teacher these days with a name like that, obviously. Although it'd be kind of handy, paedophiles did advertise themselves by a choice of surname. If that was the case, my old grammar school teacher, Mr. Touchcock, would have been fired a lot sooner, okay? Mrs. Fiddler, when I was age 6 in 1981, she made us all, that doesn't add up, does it? 1981, 6, he's 50 this weekend, there's some dodgy maths going on there. She made us all hide under our desks because we were about to be bombed. April Fool's Day. Hilarious, okay? That's the kind of thing teachers got away with in those days. And it's not surprising that actually this kind of stuff basically leaves a lasting mark on you. I spend a lot of time thinking about the end of the world now. I really do. Maybe thinking about the apocalypse, maybe once or twice an hour. That's kind of like where I'm at the moment. They say that men think about the Roman Empire at least once a week. Apparently that's a thing. Apparently it's meant to be like, sex, then the Roman Empire, Roman Empire, then sex. I mean, I don't do a lot of thinking about the Roman Empire. I think I'm meant to be thinking about the Roman Empire in a kind of, manly, Russell Crowe gladiator kind of way. I think the only time I seem to be thinking about the Roman Empire is when someone digs up an exciting pot on a BBC 4 documentary. So really, my life, I think about, the Roman Empire, not very much. My wife's opinion of my dishwasher stacking, the apocalypse, the end of the world. And I do tend to think on that, quite a bit. And we all, we do think about how the world might end, because we've got so many lovely choices at the moment. Climate change, that's a good one. Rampant tropical diseases, nuclear war. My favourite thing about nuclear war at the moment, my favourite thing about nuclear war, is the news this week is Russia is not invading other countries now. It's not invading Lithuania and Finland. The official line is they're redefining the border. That's wonderful, that is. I'm going to do that now. Apparently, no longer wars, we're just redefining the borders of each other. But when we think about the apocalypse, I think the one we all like to think about is zombies. We've all thought about zombies, okay? And in fact, we've all probably got our own zombie plan. Now, you say to yourself, no, I haven't, and you're lying, okay? Because we've all thought, if the zombies come, what will I do, okay? What are my priorities? Where will I go? I asked my daughter, my 25-year-old daughter the other day, I said, do you have a zombie plan? And she does, because she's my daughter, and she likes thinking about the end of the world as well. And she explained it to me, which mostly seemed to involve going to Wales. I don't know what the Welsh people are doing in the apocalypse here, but my daughter's going to Wales, and she told me her plan, and I said, oh, that's nice, and how do me and your mum figure in your zombie plan? And she went, oh no, you're dead. Her zombie plan includes the concept that basically her parents are automatically dead. Now, I think some parents might feel offended by that. I'm actually totally on board with that. I think that shows a level of independence, okay? If your child's zombie plan, okay, and I'm looking here, if your child's zombie plan, okay, involves going around to the parents-in-law, okay, we need to cut the apron strings there, okay? That's what we've got to do, okay? Zombie plans should involve your parents being dead. God blimey, gone a bit dark. End of the world. End of the world. Yeah, civilization is all just fucked, isn't it? Humanity may carry on, or some other creature. Cats, rats. I'm kind of like putting my money on octopuses. I think they deserve a chance. It's the only other species that can probably text and drive at the same time. They can fire 8 guns at once. It's surprising they haven't already launched a coup of some sort. But yeah, end of the world comes. We've got our zombie plan. So we've got to start thinking about what happens during the apocalypse, the post-apocalyptic world, the Mad Max world, okay? I'm talking bondage gear, leather, all oiled up. We're going to be in that world in the future, post-apocalypse. And here is the important question you need to ask yourself. You are wandering through that post-apocalyptic wilderness, and you come across a post-apocalyptic Mad Max village. Like the one Tina Turner has in Mad Max 3, Beyond the Thunderdome, okay? You turn up at the post-apocalyptic village, and they say to you, well, you can come in, but what you got? What are your skills? Now, I don't know what skills I've got to offer in the post-apocalyptic world, okay? I can knock up a decent spreadsheet, that's probably not going to cut it, okay? My mind goes to, again, popular cultural reference, Mad Max 3, Beyond the Thunderdome. In that film, I seem to recall Tina Turner, who runs Bartertown, we're all familiar with it, don't pretend you haven't watched it. She has a man, probably similar physique to me, naked, bare-chested man, all oiled up, and his sole job is just to sit there and play a saxophone, okay, mournfully, okay, while Tina Turner wanders around. And I thought, I can play the saxophone, so I can maybe be the oiled up naked saxophonist. Of course, this village may already have one, in which case, I've got no chance there. What else are saxophonists going to do, after the world has ended? My daughter asked me this question. I said, well, what skills you got, Dad? I said, I can cook. And she goes, no, you can't. And I said, I can heat up food in such a way it won't kill you. And she says, that's not cooking. And I said, well, that's my definition. However, it turns out that my definition of cooking, like my ham and banana toasties, are not widely accepted. So I don't think that's where I'm going to be in the post-apocalyptic world. Of course, my day job is that of a teacher. So it's quite possible that in the post-apocalyptic world, I could try and be a teacher. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those good teachers who teach like maths and writing and other useful skills. My teacher job is basically teaching, depends what it was called when you went to school, PSHE, PSD, social development. I generally call it sex, drugs and rock and roll. That's what we tend to teach in school these days. And so my entire teaching output is based around A, trying to get kids not to get pregnant, trying to get kids to, not put on a suicide vest, and generally, not to fuck up their lives. Which is why I was thinking about that question earlier, because my score with kids at the moment, and this is not a lie, is 3 murderers, 1 ISIS bride, but 1 Olympic gold boxing medalist. So, is a gold medal worth that much? That's the question there I've got to ask, And for your information, Sham, 540 quid. That's all they're worth.
Really?
Rubbish.
Okay.
Right, I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you very much.